Chapter 14 is very important. Chapter 4 is very important. And so that will be starting today. So let us start first of all by giving our obeisances to the Shat Goswamis by chanting out the prayers to them. So kindly repeat after me if possible. Nana Shastra Vicharanikai Dipanau Sadharma Sanstapakau Lokanam Hitkarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanyakarau Radha Krishna Padarvinda Bhajananandena Mattalikau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the 3 worlds and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Shri Radha and Krishna. So 2 important shlokas. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukullena Krishna anushilanam bhaktiruttama. And second one. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirbalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. So characteristics which we have to remember here are Anyabhilashita Shunyam, which is devoid of all other desires. The bhakti has to be favorable to Krishna. It has to be cultivated by following the footsteps of the acharyas. And we should not get our bhakti covered by any kind of karma kanda or jnana kanda. Additionally, it has to be free from all material designations. We should take to Krishna as the highest object. Bhakti is service and it has to be faultless. So devotional service is for Krishna, it is an active engagement and it is executed with favorable intent. The characteristics of devotional service which are important. So pure devotional service is Kleshatni, it gives material relief from material distress. Shubhada, it bestows auspiciousness. Moksha Laghukrata, it derides happiness of liberation. Sudurlabha, rare to achieve and difficult. Sandranandan Visheshatma, brings incalculable a transcendental pleasure, and it is Shri Krishna Akarshini that is the only means to attract Krishna. The 3 categories of devotional service, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti and prema bhakti, on how we try to cultivate the devotion to Krishna in sadhana bhakti, in bhava bhakti we have understood it, and in prema bhakti the affection deepens to the highest extent. The types of sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, which is regulated, and the raganuga or the spontaneous devotional service. In both of them, what is important is there has to be an inspiration either from scriptures and order of spiritual master. Then we understood the eligibility of devotional service. Very first important is there has to be a mercy of devotee. We should not be overly attached to anything, neither should we be overly detached. The eligibility is attraction to Krishna's service. There is no other requirement. Even if we don't have knowledge or renunciation, if we have Krishna, then we are qualified to begin bhakti. How we obtain the great fortune of attraction to Krishna service? It is by association of the devotees. Then we understood what is faith, which is conviction that conclusion of scriptures are correct. And what is that conclusion? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharnam braja. The more we become convinced, the better is our sadhana bhakti eligibility. And what is knowledge? Knowledge is to understand why this conclusion is correct. So the more our intellect is convinced, the stronger will be our attraction and better will be our bhakti. Then we have understood the 3 types of devotees, the Uttama Adhikari, the Madhyam Adhikari and the Kanishta Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari are highly qualified. They have strong faith in correctness. They have deep knowledge. They can explain why they are correct and therefore convincing others. Madhyam Adhikari, though they have strong faith, their knowledge is not yet developed. So they may not always explain the conclusions properly. They may not always be successful in defending, but they will invoke faith in others and his own faith in Krishna consciousness remains unshaken. Then we have the neophyte devotees, wherein they have slight faith in scriptures, nearly no knowledge, and they can be devoted by non-devotional opinions. But even if they lose the faith for a temporary moment, they come back to the bhakti path. The ineligible persons, what is important is that we should have attraction. So if we don't have attraction, if we don't have faith, then we are ineligible. So getting that attraction in selfless service is important, otherwise the ineligibility is explained. So Rupa Goswami ji gives 4 classes of men who are, though pious, they are ineligible, namely the distressed, the needy, the inquisitive, and the gnani. So they approach God to achieve their own desires. However, we require selfishness, selflessness, and so they are not suitable enough. So this is what we have covered till now, and we'll now move to the next chapter. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Mulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakalam Shri Gunur Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamcham Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So as we move further in this journey, what we are going to be understanding now is how devotional service surpasses all liberations. So basically, those who are eligible or those who desire to do the devotional service, they deride Bhukti as well as Mukti. So yesterday, last week when we stopped on this particular discussion, we had understood what is Bhukti and what is Mukti. So Bhukti basically is that intention wherein we try to understand something. We want to get something. We want to serve Krishna, but then the service to Krishna is with some objective to achieve something back. So whatever we desire, these material desires, they are a part of our bhaktis. So if anyone is doing a bhakti with this particular objective, then they are not suitable. So it is very important that we give up the bhakti attitude at all points of time. The second aspect is mukti. There would be someone who would expect that, okay, I want to get liberated. I want to go beyond this life, beyond this birth, old age, disease, death. But I want to get engaged with Krishna. I want to be a part of the Brahman. So they are expecting liberations. But again, if you are expecting liberation, then that is not right. Because then you are not eligible to get the benefit of pure devotional service. You will have that attachment, and that attachment is going to get you back down one day or the other. So this is what has to be always remembered if we have to achieve real prema bhakti. So that is what now chapter 4 is going to be talking about. So the heading of the chapter is Devotional Service Surpasses All Liberation. And the summary is that those eligible to practice pure devotional service reject bhukti as well as mukti. So if you go through the chapter in detail, which I have shared in the chat box right now. And hopefully you would have downloaded it even from what I'll say, the Google Drive. The whole chapter 5 may be having a lot of pages, but what it shows is it's giving you multiple examples. So basically it is giving us Shastric quotes illustrating how those who are eligible for pure devotional service reject all material desires and even liberation. And then there would be additionally quotes to illustrate how the devotees of Krishna in Vrindavan reject the desire for all liberation, even personal liberation to Vaikuntha. So just think, the whole chapter, all those pages, if you have to summarize, it's basically a combination of multiple examples and evidences to prove why that bhakti which we are talking about is rare. And if someone is giving that up, then definitely there is some reason behind it. So what is it, that reason? What is it that makes this achievable? Or why is it that people want to give it up, want to give up everything? What is the benefit in it? The best benefit is something which is illustrated by the devotees in Vrindavana itself. So if you see Brajvasis, they are highly exalted persons. They are the best devotees. There can be no one who can do devotional service to Krishna better than those who are in Vrindavan. And even amongst those who are in Vrindavan, there are no better devotees than the gopis. So why is it that this is explained, or why this happens? That is another aspect which is going to be explained in this particular chapter. So let us now start understanding it one by one. So just a second. Yeah. So let me share the screen with you. So why do we reject Bhukti and Mukti? So now the reason behind is there has to be a selfless loving service to the Lord. So we have understood the position of the Lord. We have understood that Lord is permanent. He neither has a beginning, neither has an end. He is the creator of everyone and he is unborn. Yet he incarnates repeatedly, sometimes as an avatar and sometimes as an avatari like Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that the moment we understand this aspect, we start developing a love to Krishna. But this love is not something which is developing. It is already there. Only thing is now the coverings are removed and it starts getting reflected. And the more it gets reflected, the more we want to be selfless. So the moment we become selfless, then whatever attraction we have for Bhukti and Mukti is given. So for rejection and for Bhukti and Mukti, what is important is that we have to develop selfless loving service. So every reference which we get in this chapter is explaining how devotees reject desires for self-enjoyment and liberation. And why is it that they have developed this? They have developed this because they have understood their constitutional position. They have understood their relationship with Lord Shri Krishna. They have understood that they are eternal servants of the only Purusha, which is Lord Shri Krishna. So that realization has made them understand that whatever else they think they want to get, all those desires are useless. They are going to get them out of this cycle of repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. And so they deride it. So the moment this love develops, we give it up. For example, many a times we find that when marriage happens, the mothers are really worried that now my son will not listen to me and he'll start listening to the wife. Now, this does not happen on the day of marriage itself. Does it happen? No. It's over a period of time. As that affection develops, as that love develops, that responsibility comes up, and they start giving equal attention to their wives. Now, why this has happened? Because of that development of affection, because of that selfless love which got created. Now, similarly, when our selfless love gets opened up by Chetodarpan Marjanam, all the material disqualifications and dirt is removed, we will have similar kind of affection with Lord Krishna, and we would like to serve him selflessly. And that is what is important. There's a story of Vratarasura. So it is mentioned that in Srimad Bhagavatam, that when Vratarasura was speaking to Lord, the Lord said that you ask anything, I'll do. So this comes in the 6th canto, 11th chapter. So what does Vratarasura say? I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka. I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka, heavenly planets, or the planet where Lord Brahmā resides. Nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of the earthly planets or the lower planetary systems. I do not desire to be the master of the powers of mystic yoga, nor do I want liberation if I have to give up your lotus feet. So just see, he had the opportunity to get everything he wanted. He could have gone to Dhruvaloka. He could have gone to the heavenly planets, till the planet of Lord Brahmā. He could have become the supreme ruler of the earth and even the lower planetary systems. He could have achieved the mystic yogic powers. He could have also got the liberation. But the only condition was he should give up the lotus feet of Krishna. But what did Vratarasura say? No. If it means that I have to give up your service, then I don't want any of this. Just think. So much of opulence, so much of life you could have got. But then at the cost of giving up Shri Krishna's service and his association. And that is something which pure devotees never want to give up. So Vratarasura example was very important. That is why I have quoted here. So there are many such examples. I request you that you go through these readings on a weekly basis as soon as you get the book. Now the question still arises, why is it that we want to give up? Okay, Krishna is there. Okay, service to him is there. Okay, my love for Krishna is developed. But why is it that I value it more than what I am already doing or what I wanted to be doing? So why this transition happens? Why this selflessness develops? That is also answered in this particular chapter, which you have to read thoroughly. So here, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada says, pure devotees can abandon selfish aspiration for sense gratification and liberation in favor of serving the Lord. That is what we have understood. This is a statement. What it indirectly implies is that the pleasure obtained from devotional service surpasses the pleasure of liberation and sense gratification. So it's a question of higher taste. Now just think, when you are very young, a child is young, maybe initially he wants to drink mother's milk only because he finds it very beautiful, very tasty. Now, as you start feeding him cow's milk, he gets a little taste there and he starts preferring to take cow's milk. Then as the child grows, we start giving him other foods to eat. So the moment he starts getting other foods to eat, his desire to drink milk reduces and he finds it much more favorable to eat the other aspects. The moment he gets gulab jamun, gulab jamun, he feels all the more. Now, most of you would have been aware the story of gulab jamun. Since we are on gulab jamun, let me narrate it to you. It's a very interesting story how this whole revolution happened in United States of America when Srila Prabhupada went there. So there were hippies who were very distressed, depressed, and fully engrossed in all illegal activities and breaking of the religious principles. And it is amongst them that Srila Prabhupada started his preaching mission, chanting, he started singing, and the people got attracted and they came to listen to him. And then slowly and steadily he took a waterfront shop and started taking lectures there. But then people never used to come there. But then Prabhupada is Prabhupada. As per normal duties, the D stands for deity, dressing, deity worship, and diet. So daily it was his duty that he used to prepare food, offer it to the deities, and then if anyone is there, he used to give it back, distribute it to them as prasadam. So then they started coming for prasadam, and Prabhupada ji was very expert in preparing gulab jamuns. So he understood that these people are liking gulab jamuns. So what he did is he started preparing more of gulab jamuns and he kept them at the entry door itself. And he said that anyone can come, take and go. So the moment this news spread, hippies used to come who were afraid of coming inside. They used to go to the door, open the jar, take the gulab jamun and run up. But as that prasadam effect started coming on them, they said, we are coming here. Maybe we should go little more ahead and see what is there inside. Listen to what is happening. So they started coming. And slowly and steadily, all their material afflictions reduced and they became happy. So the journalist started calling the gulab jamuns as ISKCON bullets. So it is with these ISKCON bullets that the whole revolution happened. So coming back to here, so they got a higher taste. Whatever they were eating, all those sandwich, burgers, blah, blah, blah things, they got a higher taste in this prasadam of Krishna and they utilized that taste and they became devotees. So the moment you start getting any higher taste, any higher rasa, you become better devotees and you continue the devotional service. So Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada mentions here that here also what has happened is these particular, we start getting better pleasure from the devotional service, and so we are able to give up the Bhukti and Mukti attitude. So discussing further in this particular chapter, there is description of 5 different kinds of liberations. So let us understand what are those 5 different kinds of liberations. One, wherein a person can become one with the Lord. So he is directly going and merging with the Lord himself. Second, to stay on the same planet as the Lord, Vaikuntha Vasi. So they can become Golok Vasi basically, Golok Vrindavana Vasi. Third, opting the same bodily features as the Lord. Fourth, to have the same opulence as the Lord. And fifth liberation is to have constant association of the Lord. So the Shastras have explained us these 5 kinds of liberations. Now, if you see, they are becoming much more better as we go to the up. So who would not like to become one with Lord? Sab kuch khatam, no issues. Okay, I am not qualified to become with Lord. At least I can be on the same planet. So Lord is happy, I am happy. He is in place, I am also in that place. Very good. Maybe we are not qualified enough to go to Golok Vrindavana. At least Vaikuntha, so that we have the same bodily features. We also can be Chaturbhuja, golden body, yellow colored dresses, all the ornaments, kundalas. luster, same bodily features. Even if not that, at least the opulence is like Lord. And even below that, maybe an association of the Lord at least. So these are 5 different kinds of liberations. Now, if you see everything is good, at least we are getting out of the repeated cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. But what Rupa Goswami ji is mentioning here is that the devotees do not want even all of this. The reason being, it still keeps you attached to something or the other. And they don't want any kind of attachment. So, devotees of Krishna in Vrindavan basically reject all desires. So, why is it? So, there are stages. So, pure devotees, definitely they will reject the first liberation. That is to become one with the Lord. No one will like. Lord is Lord. He is our Father. Why do I become one with Lord? So, no devotee will like to do it. No pure devotee. So, everyone rejects it. Some devotees may still continue, okay, if not that, but maybe I should be staying with the Lord. Wherever Lord is staying, same palaces, same all, everything, I should get the benefit. Or getting all the Chatur Puja robe. Or maybe having his association at least constant. But Vrindavan Vasis, they don't want any of the 4 Vaikuntha liberations also. Now just think. So why is it? Because for them, their only desire is to please Krishna. So they say, if we are able to please Krishna, Krishna will be happy. And if Krishna is happy, then we are happy. And so they are the purest of all the pure devotees. That is the difference between the devotees, the pure devotees, and those who are in Vrindavan. Just think. They have got this opportunity to get everything, but then they are not taking anything. They are saying, we don't even want to have your association. We are very happy to do anything that is going to please you. So if we staying in this Martya Loka is going to please you, then we are ready to stay here. If we being a Rajakana of Vrindavana Dham is making you happy, then we want to be the Raja of Vrindavana. So that at least we'll get the benefit of taking the feet of all the devotees in Vrindavan. So this is their surrenderance. This is their Sharnagati. This is their love. And that is why it is at the highest platform. And even amongst everyone in Vrindavan, the gopis are the best. Now it is said that you require a lot of mercy of Lord to become even a small particle of dirt in Vrindavan. So particle of dirt, the creepers, the trees, the flowers, the butterflies, all of that in Vrindavan is very pious. Those living beings have done a lot of good work, and Krishna has been merciful on them. And so they get an opportunity to reside in this Vrindavan Dham. The Vrindavan Dham in this Martya Lok is nothing but a reflection of the Golok Vrindavan. And so it is very special. And it is said that you should always visit Vrindavan Dham as and when you get an opportunity. In fact, you will find in Kartik month, a lot of devotees definitely make it a point to go and travel to Vrindavan, even if it is for one day itself. That is the importance of Vrindavan. Because it has that all the Raja where Krishna has actually walked, where the cows of Krishna have walked, where Krishna has done all his pastimes. So that potency is still there even today. And hence, it is an important sacred place of pilgrimage. So only if you have been very pious, only if you have been a devotee, you get an opportunity to be some living being in Vrindavan, maybe a leaf of some tree itself. But even for that, you need to have been a good devotee. So just think, if you are living there in human body, how much good devotee you would have been in your previous lifetimes. And that is why these people, they start from where they have left in the previous lifetime. And so their devotional service, their bhakti is at the topmost level. And there can be nothing more selfless than the devotion of the gopis. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a very strict sannyasi. He never used to allow any women to come near him even for a lot of distance together. But even then, what he used to say, the best devotions, the best devotees are the gopis. And he used to say that you should serve as a gopis. You should become the devotee of the devotee of the devotee of the gopis. We should be surrendering and serving the lotus feet of the gopis. And it is only when we are able to achieve that kind of devotion, selflessness, we can become eligible. Because they have proven how Bhukti and Mukti both are inconsequential. And that is why they are always in association with Krishna. That is why they are participating in all the pastimes of Krishna. And that is why Krishna always favors them. So even in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that out of many millions of persons, only one may try to understand what is spiritual knowledge. And out of such many such persons who are trying to understand, only one or few may know what is Supreme Personality of God. So it is very important that we now utilize this opportunity which we have got to understand him properly. Krishna gives his instructions directly to an associate like Arjuna, just so that people in general may take advantage of the spiritual knowledge. So the discussion between Lord Krishna and Arjuna was not the one-off discussion. It was for our benefit. So we have to take it very seriously. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, my dear Uddhav, the devotees who have completely shaken shelter of my service are so steadfast in devotional service that they have no other divine desire. Even if they are offered 4 kinds of spiritual opulences, they will refuse to accept them. So what to speak of desiring anything within the material? Just think. My dear Uddhav, a person who is conscious, is completely absorbed in my thought and activities, does not aspire to occupy the post of Brahma also, or the post of Indra or lordship over the planets, or the 8 kinds of mystic perfections, or even liberation. So many locations where Krishna has given examples of why Bhukti and Mukti both have to be derided. So let us take it very sincerely. So we can therefore conclude that glories and pastimes of Lord are not material. Otherwise, we would not have got that attraction. So whatever are the 5 stages of the liberation, you have to give them up. Vrindavan is a transcendental place where Krishna enjoys his eternal pastimes as a God. And it is the topmost sphere in all existence. So let us strive to take this in our daily activities. And the moment we are going to do it, we will be able to get back to Godhead. So this was the whole of chapter 4. So I again request that you go through the book, you read it, and if you have any doubts anywhere, please do feel to raise them in the attendance link, or you can ask them online also. when we are discussing.